My name is Anthony DiBasilio. I work at KTM North America. I was Kurt Caselli's mechanic. I started working for KTM in 2008, and here we are now. I build motors, but my dad and my uncle opened a motorcycle shop almost 20 years ago now. So I've been around it forever and wanted to do it and loved it. After high school, I actually joined the military. I wanted to be military police. I wanted to be a cop, just like my best friend and my dad who were going through the academy. And I didn't care for it once I was in, didn't have that mentality, and loved working on bikes. And then I did a tour in Iraq, I was in Israel at the beginning of the war, did some time, saw some stuff, traveled a lot, not to fun places and some fun places. And then when I moved up to Washington, I actually got hooked up with Jason Raines. And one day I was working on his bike. He's like, you should go to school. So pretty much that day, I was like, oh, I should. And I looked into it and signed up at MMI, I think the week later. So as soon as I got out of the military, I was going to MMI. I already had a plan, but I was going to go work in my uncle's shop. Didn't have any plans, didn't know anything about off-road. I was a motocross guy. I did a couple hair scrambles and enduros with my uncle when I was growing up, but nothing serious. And then in 2006, I did a works race at Sinbar. I was racing 250B. And at that time, Souley and Richmond were in 250A. And I was like, who the heck are these guys? They lapped me like twice. I was like, man, these guys are jerks. They're just making us look bad. And even then, I didn't know who Kurt was. I was invited to go down there by my buddy Greg, who actually got me in contact with Raines and went race. So I still didn't know nothing about it. Went to MMI, got hooked up with a buddy of mine that my uncle used to help out, Danny Palladino. And he said they were starting a lights team with KTM because at the time it was MDK Honda. And he's like, yeah, well, we're going to need mechanics. Let me know how you're doing. So I called him every month, let him know how I was doing. And then he called me one day and he's like, hey, I don't have a job, but off-road does. He flew me out here that week and I met with Kurt Nickel. Kurt Nickel called me Friday, said, hey, I need you out here Monday. I'm like, all right, cool. So I worked with Souley for a couple years and then, and David Como. And then when Kurt came back from racing GNCCs, Auntie asked me to be Kurt's mechanic. And I was like, absolutely. So from 2010, I was Kurt's mechanic until he passed away. Known Kurt since 2008 and always liked the guy and loved how he worked because he knew what he wanted. At first, I was nervous because I was Kurt Caselli. He's won championships. He knows what he's doing. Not taking anything away from Como or Souley, but he was on the next level. He was winning championships. So I was like, holy smokes. So I was nervous at first, and he would always give me crap every time. Dude, you nervous? Why are you shaking? Come on, dude, we're just out here having fun. So eventually it worked out to him and I, we became really good friends, and just the bond that him and I had, I think opened me up to how a relationship for two partners working together should be. I mean, yeah, we're work partners, but he also trusts me with his life. So it became a very good relationship and I loved it. And that's why I love being a mechanic. And then going on to Taylor, we had a good relationship too. It works good that way. And Kurt taught me that. Traveled a lot with him, got to see some pretty cool stuff.
What was that like traveling with Kurt?
It was fun. For him and I didn't get to go to Europe with him when he did some stuff over there. I got to travel a lot more with Taylor, but when I traveled with Kurt, it was in a box van or the Sprinter going from Herrenhelm to a works race, or we stayed a week up in Idaho in the Fulfers fifth wheel. He brought it out to us. It was just Kurt and I. We played games. We were bouncing. We had a tennis ball and we were bouncing it off the ground, off the back wall and trying to hit it behind us into red Solo cups. We did that for like 3 hours one night, just him and I. Just having fun. But that's who Kurt was. It was all about, if we weren't working, it was enjoying life. And that's how he was with me and my family. He's like, dude, you have to enjoy life. Make sure you're doing that. And it's gotten me where I'm at now. I've learned a lot from Kurt. Being a guy that hadn't experienced being a dad or in a marriage or anything, his advice was like dead on. It's like he'd already done it. But that's just the kind of guy he was. He was super humble and just a pleasure to work with. And that's why I think his name is so big. I mean, yeah, it sucks. People pass racing motorcycles all the time, but the impact that Kurt has done and to have the Kurt Caselli Foundation because of him is obviously shows the kind of person that he was. And to have been able to work with somebody and have that relationship with somebody is huge.
You didn't do any ISDEs with Kurt, or?
I did. We did. That was probably the only traveling outside that I did with him. Did Mexico with him, and then just him and I went to Finland. That was fun. I mean, I went with the rest of the team, obviously, but that was the first year because Mexico, it was nice. We were here, but we had the rental program, so we had a bunch of people from KTM down there. But in Finland, I was the only one that went over there as part of the U.S. team, basically, outside of the AMA team. So we had some fun, and Kurt was pitted underneath the factory tent, and they're all Italians. So during the day, he was out riding. I was back at the pit drinking wine, eating cheese and bread. He'd come in and be like, "Dude, can you work on my bike?" Good. So
how does it feel to be a wrench for somebody who wins a championship?
Winning a championship, I mean, it's still a team effort no matter what. I don't care what anybody says. Behind the rider, there's a mechanic, and behind the mechanic, there's a team. But when it's you and that rider going out testing, I mean, Kurt and I would go out and test before every Hare and Hound, every works race. And to win one of those championships, let alone win both of them, Works and Hare and Hound in one season, is huge. And another big one to win was the 250. San Felipe was pretty cool. I mean, that was obviously another huge team effort, and KTM winning that was cool.
Got the first notch in the crown against Honda.
Yeah, it was cool. And then coming close on the 500 and the 1,000, well, we went down there and we got second. We almost got third. Cowie was riding pretty good until they had a motor issue. Never got to win the 1,000. That was one of my goals, was to build a bike to win the 1,000. I still want to. I don't care what class it's in. I just want to build a bike that was 1,000. So still might happen one day.
So, with everything that happened with the 1,000, with Kurt's passing and everything, it doesn't leave like a bitter taste in your mouth as far as that season goes? Or that series, rather.
I mean, in a way it does. There's so much speculation on what happened that people don't know about. And I mean, people still think that there's a booby trap that Kurt hit. I mean, I know for a fact that he hit an animal. They're plain as day. He hit an animal that I think he just T-boned. He didn't see it until the last second. That I think the animal got spooked. He told all of us, there was a wild horse before he got on the bike. A adult and a baby horse. He's all, that's what's going to get us one of these days. I was like, huh. And that's why he wanted the helicopter in that area. It just didn't work out. I mean, it was a butterfly effect, plain and simple. And it just sucked that it ended like that, but that's part of racing.
So you'd like to go back to Baja, like you said? I
would like to. There's definitely some things that I think need to be changed as far as our program. I mean, there's not one single person that was at fault. By a butterfly effect, there's a lot of things that happened that could have been prevented. Hindsight's 2020. So there are things learning from that we can learn and go back, and then score also. There's also stuff with the organizer that could be fixed and be better. I mean, Dakar is a completely different operation, but there's stuff that I think Score could take from them, and I think they are, and that's what the foundation is doing. And so from a bad, we can take the good and make it better. So,
and about Dakar, let's talk about Dakar a little bit, because Kurt was really successful there when he went over. How much of a role did you play in that at all? I mean, were you helping him at all? Or?
No, they sent a practice bike over here that I prepped for them. But other than that, they have their mechanics that know their bike, just like Mark Como when he came over here to help us. They didn't send a mechanic. We have our program, our bike. So it's the same thing. It was completely different deal.
And how about that time when Mark Como was here working with Kurt? What was cool about that whole interaction? Did you learn anything new about how they did things as opposed to how we do things here in the U.S.?
Yeah, Mark, I mean, he would always, the biggest thing was like, holy crap, I can't believe you guys go this fast on this type of terrain, because Dakar's different. It's fire roads. I mean, yeah, they have some gnarly stuff, but they don't have 4-foot sand loops that trophy trucks have been pre-running on for 2 weeks. So that was his biggest thing. And then, yeah, he would tell us like, oh, we do this in Dakar, just the different stuff with the bike and all the helicopters and the security measures that they have and the bivouacs and everything. So it's, like I said, it's a different operation. But working with Mark and was pretty cool. When Kurt went over there to do rally or to do Dakar, Mark like took him under his wing, just like Mark did with Toby. I think like Mark is a great guy, and he's another one of those heroes that you're like, holy smokes, this guy is a great guy. So it was cool to work with him.
And I thought it was really cool to see when he recently won after Kurt's passing, how he was pointing it up and dedicating it to Kurt.
Yeah, no, after he won that, after Kurt passed that year in 2014, pretty big. He wished obviously that Kurt was there battling with him, and so he dedicated it to Kurt. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think he said like, this wasn't mine, kind of thing, something to those lines.
I mean, I think they all knew if Kurt was coming, they were in some trouble. On the rally team, the year that he went, they basically told him, okay, you can go win this stage if you want. And that's what he did. They didn't want him to win because they obviously had other objectives, Mark or Cyril or whatever.
Yeah.
But the days that they said, you can win today, he said, okay.
Oh, it's so funny.
So it's crazy. Honestly, seeing him interact with kids was the biggest heartwarming thing for me. Having a daughter and seeing him, he loved kids. Hey, come sit on my bike. The way he made the kids feel was awesome. It was so cool at any race. He could have had the worst damn race. The day he broke his shoulder at Utah, he was sitting there just arm drooping, waiting for me to load up so we could get out of there to get down to Supercross so we could get a checked out from the Asterisk crew. Kid comes up and asks him for an autograph. He's like, oh yeah, no problem. Nothing had happened. So seeing that shows what kind of guy he really is. He can put his feelings and his pain aside for the pleasure of other people. And there's not too many, there are a lot of athletes like that. You just don't see it all the time. So being able to see it firsthand, I'd be putting my stuff away. I'm like, this is awesome. It's so cool to work for a guy that appreciates everything. And you still see people all the time post, oh, we got this from Kurt. And the story that is behind it is just huge. The kid is a Caselli fan for life.
If Kurt was here today and you had a chance to talk to them, is there anything that you would be excited to share with them? Obviously, you've got some things going on in your life, but and since he's been gone, is there anything that, you would be really excited to tell him about in particular?
Yeah, there's a lot. Obviously with a kid on the way, that's big. How his foundation's doing is huge. I don't know. There's just so much that I would want to tell him. I think of stuff like that all the time. I'm not joking. There's still times that something will happen and I'll think of something like, oh, I need to call. Oh, crap. It's that split second that you forget and you want to, because I would tell him everything. The coolest thing I think right now, because he was always asking how my family was and how my dad was. My dad he's a sheriff now. I'm leaving tomorrow to go watch him be sworn as a sheriff. And I think because it has nothing to do with motorcycles and knowing how pumped he would be for me and for my dad, I think that would be cool to tell him. He would probably want to go up there with me to watch him get sworn in, because that's just the kind of guy he was. Oh yeah, let's drive up there. No problem. So I think telling him that, and just, it would almost be like it was happening to him, because he appreciates people's hard work, because he knows what it takes to be a hard worker. He taught me a lot of life stuff and just how to deal with things. You can't take things and just let them crush you. If it's a bad day, it's a bad day. There's another day coming. You don't know when it's going to end. So just take everything and make it the best you can. That's how he lived.